As the modern world progresses to the mid-2020s, a series of events are put into motion that will change the face of the world and will redefine the notion, what does it mean to be human? By this point in time, mechanical augmentations are now all the rage and have grown from their humble origins of helping the disabled and recovering war veterans. Now mechanical augmentations include performance-enhancing abilities that will provide the user with new and extraordinary abilities, the likes of which have only been dreamt of up until now. But as this new technology becomes readily available to everyone, a problem arises. Now everyone can get their hands on this new tech and become walking weapons of war, with organised crime and the field of battle being changed forever. And it is in these two theatres of conflict that we find ourselves at the beginning of the Deus Ex timeline, with the tales of both Special Agent Anna Kelso of the US Secret Service and Ben Saxon, an aspiring operative of Bell Tower Associates. This is the tale of the Icarus Effect. As mounting tension grows amongst the public about the use of the new augmentation technology, the US Senator Jane Schuyler agrees to hold a meeting with top augmentation technology developer Garrett Dansky. As Special Agent Anna Kelso accompanies the Senator to the meeting in Washington DC, the convoy is attacked by an unknown professional augmentation hit squad. Although Anna survives the horrific ordeal, she witnesses the murder and execution of her entire squad, along with Garrett himself, with only herself and the Senator as the remaining survivors. Now in hospital undergoing extensive treatment and repairs to her human body and her mechanical counterparts, Anna begins to recover. But when her superiors attempt to explain to her that the attack was orchestrated by members of the Red Arrow Triad, Anna refuses this version of the truth, resulting in her own involvement in the case being terminated. Now Anna must learn the truth on her own to find out who carried out the attack involving the murder of several of her colleagues, including Matt Ryan, who was particularly close to Anna's heart. As these events occur, on the other side of the world, Operation Rainbird is put into action. In an attempt to make a breakthrough in the Australian Civil War, Bell Tower operatives initiate what they had calculated would be a safe and simple mission. What resulted, however, was quite different. With Strike Team 6 being deployed, the crew never made it to their destination in one piece, with their plane being shot down by an attack drone. Only Sam Duarte and the team's leader, Ben Saxon, survived the crash, though Sam is gunned down soon after by the returning drone. Ben survives his own ordeal, but ends up much in the same way as Anna had after her incident, lying up in a hospital bed with the mission supposedly closed, and, like Anna, Ben is approached by someone whilst in recovery, though this man comes with a different message. Ben is approached by a mysterious augmented man who makes Saxon a job offer. With his contract with Bell Tower nearly up, Ben was considering to re-enlist, but after what happened on his last mission, Saxon decided to hear the man out. Calling himself Jaron Namir, this shady character informs Ben that he is part of a blacklisted professional team of mercenaries known as the Tyrants. He explains that the Tyrants are not in the business for themselves, but rather, they are an organisation aimed at maintaining the balance of power within the world, hoping that the world will not destroy itself should one side or one individual become too powerful, and this is applied to both private corporate organisations and governmental establishments. Without needing time to think it over, Saxon agrees to join. Now out of hospital and conducting an investigation of her own, Anna Kelso is led to the dilapidated USS Intrepid, an underground drugs and information hub. Here she meets up with a contact known as Widow. As Widow informs her that her attackers are a group called the Tyrants, a SWAT team arrives and storms the ship. With those inside being scattered, Kelso attempts to put up a resistance, but is knocked out. Awakening in an interrogation chamber in the local police precinct, Anna is eventually released by her superior Ron Temple of the Secret Service, though she is temporarily put on suspension from the service. Now grounded at home, Kelso is ready to give up hope, but just as she is about to give up, Anna is contacted by a mysterious caller who instructs her to meet at a nearby Humanity Front rally. The contact is later revealed to be D-Bar, a hacker with the Juggernaut Collective cyber terrorists who has information regarding the Tyrants. It is he who informs Kelso that the events which are happening before their eyes are at the control of an ancient and powerful organisation, hinting at the existence of the Illuminati. During this time, Ben Saxon begins his work with the Tyrants, meeting other members of the group such as Lawrence Barrett, Yelena Fedorova, Scott Hardesty, and Gunter Herman. Now on his first mission, Namir informs both Ben and Gunter that their target is Mikhail Kontarsky, an official on the Russian Committee for Mechanical Augmentation. Located at the Hotel Nova Rostov in Moscow, the target is suspected to be in association with a cyber-terrorist group called the Juggernaut Collective and those responsible for organising the attack on Operation Rainbird. As the mission begins, the Tyrants are met with heavy resistance. Eventually finding Kontarsky, Saxon finds that the Russian official is in the middle of a video conference with a mysterious figure known only as Janus. Realising that his conversation has been crashed, Janus begins to question Saxon over whether or not he trusts the Tyrants. But before he can question the ex-Bautar agent further, Kontarsky meets his end as Scott Hardesty eliminates him with a sniper bullet. However, the whole ordeal has left Saxon shaken. This is clearly obvious to the rest of the Tyrants, who proceed to have both Ben and Herman, both being the new recruits, knocked out upon returning back to base. The pair eventually awaken in a small, cramped, nondescript room with the other members of the Tyrants. Namir, it seems, is unhappy with the two of them, as it is believed that either Ben Saxon or Gunter Herman has betrayed them. As a test of loyalty, Namir throws a pistol between the two. The gun has only one round in it, and the two are forced into a fight to the death, but after a hard struggle, it is Saxon who manages to get the best of Herman. And now, with Herman on his knees ready to die, Saxon lowers his aim and refuses to kill him. Convinced that Saxon's loyalty to the group is genuine, Namir concludes the test and the pair are allowed to live and continue working with the Tyrants. But the ordeal leaves Ben Saxon with a sour opinion of the group. Back at the Humanity Front rally, D-Bar explains to Anna Kelso what is really going on. All of the events that she has been caught up in are the product of a phenomenon called the Icarus Effect. The Icarus Effect, as D-Bar explains, is an attempt to prevent anyone from becoming too powerful or by causing major and drastic changes within the world in an attempt to maintain a balance. Thus, those who fly too high will have their wings burnt. Garrett Dansky, the man Anna saw assassinated previously, was one such person. The Tyrants are a part of this phenomenon, though they are a more radical and proactive version of it. Learning this, Anna attempts to break into the Secret Service headquarters to gain information about a mole within her unit who sold them out to the Tyrants. Before getting caught, she learns that it was in fact Ron Temple, her former boss, that was the mole. However, Anna is found out by some of her former colleagues and is thrown into a prison cell within the facility. It is here that she comes face to face with Ron once more. Ron explains that he only did what he had to protect his family who were under threat. He had also tried to protect Anna by keeping her away from the case, but because of her persistent digging up of classified information, he couldn't do anything more for her. Thus, she is being sent to a holding facility for the rest of her life, just to shut her up. During the journey there, the armoured van that is holding Anna in is hit by D-Bar, who proceeds to rescue her. Despite appreciating the help, Anna decides to leave D-Bar by the side of the road and go after Ron Temple herself, knowing his home address. Meanwhile, as Ben Saxon gets comfortable in his new line of work, another mission assignment is handed to him. Whilst the rest of the Tyrants plan an upcoming attack on Sarif Industries headquarters in Detroit, Saxon, Herman and Hardesty are reassigned to Virginia, where they are instructed to assassinate Secret Service official Ron Temple along with his family. Though they reach their destination, Hardesty orders Saxon to remain behind, believing that he isn't capable of carrying out the job. As the mission assignment is carried out, Anna Kelso arrives on the scene. Once inside Temple's house, she realises that everyone there has been killed, though there is no sign of Ron himself. But when Anna realises that members of the Tyrants are in the building, still searching for survivors, Anna quickly hides, stumbling across Ron Temple in the process. As the two try to make their escape, they are spotted, with Kelso narrowly managing to escape the scene, though Temple is not so lucky, being killed outright by a grenade. As Anna flees the house, Saxon gets sight of her. Aiming his gun, Saxon considers shooting the innocent bystander, but is unable to, letting her go. This decision would earn him grief from Scott Hardesty, though his decision did end up benefiting the Tyrants. Using this to their advantage, the Tyrants, and supposedly their Illuminati masters, use Anna Kelso as a scapegoat for the incident and Temple's demise. In a debriefing back at their base of operations, Saxon learns that the attack on Sarif Industries went well as being informed about Kelso taking the heat from the incident and that Yelena Fedorova is taking care of that detail. Now a wanted fugitive, Anna Kelso receives a package from D-Bar with information on a place in Canada for her to travel to. At that point, in an attempt to assassinate Kelso, Fedorova enters her house and the two fight, with Kelso managing to get away by using an EMP grenade to temporarily disable Fedorova's augmentations. She flees the scene and attempts to travel north, eventually stumbling across D-Bar. Meanwhile, Ben Saxon's doubts about the Tyrants grows. After overhearing from both Namir and Hardesty that he's expendable and that the Tyrants don't trust him, Saxon contacts Janus, the man who seems to be determined to turn Saxon away from the Tyrants. Janus informs Ben that Namir has a data terminal that he could access to gain more information. Once the coast is clear, Ben Saxon accesses the terminal on board the Tyrant's aircraft and gathers data on the Tyrant's working methods. By accessing the Tyrant's information network, called the Killing Floor, Saxon learns that potential recruits often go through staged disasters or accidents to make it look genuine, thus freeing up that particular recruit, much like what Ben went through during Operation Rainbird. Suddenly, Saxon realises that Namir is also in the room. Jaren confesses to Ben that it was he who was responsible for the Operation Rainbird incident, and in a fit of rage, Saxon destroys the terminal. Now an enemy of the Tyrants, Saxon is forced to flee the area, but not before encountering Gunter Herman. Once more, the two fight, and again, Saxon comes out the victor, breaking several of Herman's ribs and blinding him in one eye. After fleeing from this battle, Ben Saxon attempts to reach the cargo area, but is forced to fight Hardesty. Managing to give Scott the slip by creating a distraction, Ben Saxon finally makes it to the cargo area and prepares to leave the in-flight aircraft. But once more his path is blocked by another member of the Tyrants, Lawrence Barrett. Though almost getting the better of him, Barrett is unable to finish off Saxon as Ben successfully opens an emergency hatch in the cargo bay and jumps out of the aircraft and into the Atlantic Ocean. Landing in the water outside, Ben had made a miraculous escape thanks to his Icarus landing system. However, the fall from the plane did more damage to Saxon than he had first thought, leaving both of his augmented legs damaged beyond repair, and it soon occurs to Ben that he is about to meet his end in a watery grave. But just as all hope was lost, Saxon is swallowed up by an unknown mechanical vessel. Now reunited with D-Bar, based out of Baltimore in a hidden base of operations, owned by both the Juggernaut Collective and other paramilitary organisations, Anna Kelso is told the truth about who has been pulling the strings all along. She is introduced to the leader of the up-and-coming armed group called the New Sons of Freedom, Juan Lebedev, as well as making contact with Janus via video feed. Knowing that someone was moving the pieces, Kelso found it hard to believe that the fabled Illuminati were really the ones doing it, and this was initially passed off as nonsense, though Kelso would eventually come to accept this fact. After this realisation, Janus decides to show Anna what he believes is the Illuminati's vision of the world, or rather, what will come to pass should they succeed. In this vision, Kelso sees cities being overrun by augmented people, destroying and killing all in their sight, as well as a world that any forms of communication, as society falls into what can only be described as a great collapse. Now accepting the truth about the Illuminati, Kelso decides to get on board with the rest of the team. Janus informs her that he is sending one of his own to assist them, and shortly after this, Ben Saxon arrives to help. Thanks to Saxon's knowledge from accessing the Killing Floor, the collective groups learn that the Tyrants plan to travel to Geneva and assassinate the head of Humanity Front, William Taggart, in order to make him a martyr for his anti-augmentation cause and accelerate the need for UN augmentation regulations. Knowing this, the team sets off pursuing the Tyrants. As they arrive in Geneva and split up into two task force groups, Kelso discovers a car bomb that will be used against Taggart, along with Gunter Herman, who Kelso also recognises as being one of the attackers back in Washington DC. The two fight each other during a car chase, with Kelso nearly being killed, but is able to overcome Herman, forcing him to swerve the car off the road and into the nearby river where the bomb is detonated, which Kelso manages to escape from before the blast. Meanwhile, Saxon and his team searches the nearby Tyrant plane where they find it to be empty. Inside, Saxon finds a terminal which speaks of a place called Icarus, and some details on weapons, but nothing along the lines of which they are looking for. But before he could get any more information, Saxon realises that his team has walked into a trap and manages to escape the plane before it's destroyed from rigged explosives, though the rest of his team is not so lucky. Saxon decides to inform Anna of what has happened via infolink, but instead of receiving Anna, Jaron Namir responds instead. With D-Bar switching sides, thanks to Illuminati pressure, and the rest of Anna's team dead, Namir tells Saxon that if he does not kill Taggart in front of the general public during his speech, then he'll kill Kelso. Being left with no choice, Saxon agrees to the deal. Fighting his way through both the crowd and Bell Tower security forces, Saxon reaches Taggart, but is unable to bring himself to carry out the assassination. Scott Hardesty attempts to take Taggart down instead, but Saxon prevents this too. Now with his mind made up, Saxon attempts to flee the scene and reach Anna Kelso before she is executed. He heads for a nearby library, where he stumbles across Hardesty and the two are forced to fight. During the battle, Saxon is wounded in his stomach, but is finally able to kill Hardesty before escaping the Genevan police force. He contacts Janice about the whereabouts of Kelso, who is actually being held on a nearby yacht called the Icarus, the same Icarus that Saxon had previously learnt about. As Kelso awakens on the Icarus meanwhile, she is confronted by Barrett, who intends to torture her until she leaks information about Janice. Kelso manages to escape, but is soon confronted by Fedorova, who Kelso attempts to flee from by creating a fire. However, Kelso is unable to escape and is overcome. With Kelso now in custody of the three remaining Tyrants, Namir decides that they should take her to a secure location elsewhere, a place where they could gain information about Janice from her, and where they will eventually have her killed. Their plans, however, are laid to waste, as Ben Saxon emerges from the Icarus's VTOL, having killed the pilot. Now face to face once more, Jaron Namir challenges Ben to a showdown, a final fight to the death, once and for all. Because of his superior augmentations, Namir is able to easily bring Saxon to his knees, but before Namir can deliver the final blow, Saxon is able to grab the pistol that is left on the VTOL pilot's body and unleashes several rounds into Namir's chest, stunning him. Ready to deliver the last shot, Lawrence Barrett decides to play Saxon at his own game, threatening to kill Anna by holding her over the edge of the ship's lower decks, which are now fully on fire. Unable to let Anna be killed, Saxon throws his gun overboard, letting Namir live, but Barrett decides to go back on his part of the deal, letting Anna fall off the side of the vessel and into the flames below. Seeing this, Saxon jumps down into the roaring flames after Anna, and after saving her, the two make their escape off the sinking ship. Both characters have survived the ordeal and flee to Costa Rica. But although they have survived their own hells, they have now been forced to live in a state of constant fear. Though the Illuminati believe the two are dead, they have been forced to live off the grid, forever in fear that they might get found out and be forced to once more go on the run. This doesn't sit well with Ben, who considers going back after Namir and the rest of the Tyrants to exact his revenge for those he lost during Operation Rainbird. But before Ben comes to a decision, Anna recounts the vision that Janice had shown her. The world ablaze in smoke and fire. A world that is doomed to fall apart should the Illuminati gain power, and there is nothing that either Ben Saxon or Anna Kelso can do but ride out the storm. Their parts in this tale have been played, and now it is their turn to sit back and let others take the stage. Elsewhere, however, a secret meeting is held in Paris. The head of a secret society and his protege discuss the events that have occurred, as well as the future of their organisation. In particular, several projects and plans are being formulated that will one day shake the Earth itself, as this organisation will rise up and hold the world in its hand. Now that the idea of UN-regulated augmentation laws has been put into the general public's mind, the Illuminati is ready to make its move, and several key players have already been recruited. A human revolution is about to occur, and the Illuminati is standing by to guide it. But there are some variables, and some people, who have not been factored into the equation. But that is a tale for another time. In the next episode, we'll see the world take off in an all-hellfire technological and philosophical revolution, where the issue of what it means to be human is brought into question, and where the best laid plans of the world's secret superpower will come crashing down thanks to the endeavours of the head of security at Sarif Industries, Adam Jensen. All of this next time on True Reviews Episode 2, A Human Revolution.